I'm working with a guy right now who, uh, you know, basically this girl that he's infatuated with lives like 2 hours away from him, and he doesn't want to hear anything else other than strategies as to how to pull her in, you know. And I'm like, I've had the conversation with him a half dozen times. I'm like, look, man, this isn't. I'm not saying don't shoot your shot and don't try to talk. I'm not saying that. But to put all your eggs in that basket isn't helping you. I will help you with technique strategies to try to reel her in. But what I don't want you to do is say, if it doesn't work out, this wasn't successful. Because that's not the barometer. That's not the measuring stick for success in my book. You know, my my measuring stick for success is how you're going to use what I'm giving you for you, digesting it and expressing it outwardly so you can start pulling in other people, because it's not just like what if she died like God forbid, but what if she got hit by a bus or something, like you just be like, well, I guess I'm a check out too, because like that was the only girl
Some
for
guys are
me.
actually like that.
What's that?
Some guys are actually like
I
that.
know that, and that's such a huge issue, man. Like
Mm.
that whole mentality of that's textbook codependency.
Mm.
Where this other person has to be the fuel for me how I feel about myself. No, how you feel about yourself should be the fuel to bring people in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the issue with that is a lot of people like kind of I find, and I'm not gonna say I'm innocent of this. Like again, when I was a teen, I would fixate on certain girls, but then
Yeah.
when you grow older, it's like you're not fixating on that girl. You're fixing on what you built her up in your mind to be. Because you don't know
Exactly.
that girl. You haven't spent time with her. You don't know
Right.
what she's thinking. Like,
Yeah.
for all you know, like you meet her once, hang out with her, and then you're like, oh my God, ew.
Yeah.
Like
And that's
I don't like this person.
right, dude. Then
But
that's
I think like people like have like these concepts of romance in their mind, and it's very unhealthy concepts where it's like they're fantasizing about a Romeo and Juliet situation, completely
right.
forgetting that Romeo and Juliet were like
They
young
died.
teenagers who met each other once and then
Right.
everyone died at the end.
Right. And guess what? She ain't Juliet, and you ain't Romeo. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, man, that's textbook nice guy syndrome, man. And then guess what? Your perception of her gets blown. Like, just say, sake of argument, you actually do get with her, okay? Then you find out, like you said, she doesn't live up to the pedestal that you would put her on. And now you're salty. Like, oh, well, like, da 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 da. She's not what I thought. Well, like that's putting the cart before the horse. Like how? Let me ask you this: do you know what you ever heard the expression covert contract? Do you know what that is?
Covert contract?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, I talk about it in my book. So a covert contract works like this. All right, George, we're going to start. We're going to have a business relationship. Okay, and here's what's going to happen. I'm going to do all this stuff for you. I'm going to blow up your podcast, man. Like this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to blow it up. All right, and in return, like you owe me your life. Okay, but I'm only having this conversation in my own head. Okay. So you're not even privy to this agreement. And I start blowing up your podcast, right? But you don't live up to your end of the deal that you never agreed to nor even knew about. So now I'm mad at you because you're not fulfilling your end of the obligation of that contract that you didn't sign, you didn't know about, you know nothing about it. It was only in my own head. But that's what guys do with women all the time.
All the
Why
time.
aren't you living up to these expectations that you should have that I thought of? You know what I mean? And now I'm gonna be mad at you because you're not living up to it.
Yeah.
you know? But
It's this strange thing where because you're fixated on someone, you think that that person you're fixated on owes you something. It's like,
right.
w-
That- it's
yeah.
like, yo, girl, I'm gonna
Mhm.
come over and paint your house. I'll build an extension on your house. You need a new roof, a new deck. I got you. Oh, wait, what? I did all that and you're not gonna sleep with me? Like she never signed up for that. You know what I mean?
We joke about this, but this kind of mentality and behavior is very common.
Yeah, super
Yeah.
duper common, man. You know?
Like best case scenario, you get nothing, and then there's worst case scenario where like guys have become like obsessively. I'm not even going to say infatuated because to be infatuated, you have to know the person you're obsessing over. But like they've become like pretty obsessed with certain women, and it goes into really crazy like you need a therapist territory.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Mm,
that's why I'm such a big believer in expressing your intent, what it is that you actually want, you
mm,
know, having boundaries, like, look, if you want to come paint her house because you just simply want to, you want to help her out or whatever,
mm.
fine, go do it. But don't expect something in return. If you want to go do it, just do it because you're a good guy like that. If you want
Yeah.
to go do it, if you don't want to do it, then don't do it. But don't do it with some expectation of something in return that she never agreed to.